quiet, safe, private sounds like my death. I'm not doing that. We're not dying today. That was not on the agenda. I don't know what you were.
And it goes a little something like.
Здравствуйте to my newbies, привет to my oldies, and добрый день to everybody because it is the afternoon time over here in Maryland. What's up? I don't have a long time to tell the story, so we're gonna make it very quick and fast. If you clicked on this video, you already know it's a Stalker Storytime. But before we get into it, if you like my vibe, go ahead and subscribe, red button down below. It helps me a lot. Like, comment, and share so I can get this video on the algorithm. Manifesting 30K right now. Manifesting 30K. So that's what we're doing over here. To start the story off, this was my first big girl job, like my first 18-year-old actually getting paid, not a livable wage, but what I thought was a livable wage at the time at 18. I was dumb. So I'm working at one of a big like corporation retail store. I'm a cashier, a night cashier, because I'm in college at the time. I remember during this time it was usually pretty dead in my store. I didn't work in a very busy part of town, and so my manager would allow me to read or do my schoolwork at the register. And usually for the last 2 hours, because we would close around 12 or 1 o'clock, depending on how many customers we had in the store. Usually around that time, like 11, 12, it'd usually be pretty dead. It'd only be a rarity if we were ever really busy. And I remember I was reading a book at the register, just like any normal night, and I felt like these eyes on me. And I was tripping because I was like, I'm obviously just scaring myself, because I would do that a lot when I was up front by myself, because like there would be stalkers all the way in the back of the store, but like where the registers were, there would be nobody, and like my manager would always be in the office towards the end of the night, so I would scare myself from being alone, just like feeling like I'm alone in the store, you know? So I kept ignoring the eyes, but finally I couldn't, and I finally looked up, and there was this man just looking at me, just staring at me at the end of the register. He was really tall. He had a big afro, and I remember the only reason I knew he was tall was because he was kind of crouched over, hiding behind the magazine rack at the end of my register, right? He was a weirdo. He was just looking at me, and I was looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, sir, do you need some help? And he's looking at me, and finally he says, are you open? And I'm looking up at my light, and I'm just like, want to say like, there ain't nobody else here. I'm the only cashier. But of course I didn't say that. I just looked at him and I said, of course I'm open. How can I help you? You know? He starts putting his stuff up, doesn't really say anything after that. I'm ringing him out, and then like he's just, the whole time I'm ringing him out though, he's just staring at me intently like this, not saying anything, just like straight face looking at me, which it makes me very uncomfortable. So of course my eyes are down and I'm just ringing out his stuff, you know? So the only thing that he says to me is, do you work here a lot? And I said, yeah, I work here, you know? And he's like, oh, okay. I tell him his total. He gives me the money. I say, have a good day. He says nothing. He walks out. It was a weird encounter. He was kind of rude, kind of pissed me off just a little bit, but you know, I let it go because it's the end of the night. So fast forward 2 weeks later, I haven't seen this customer, and I see him again, and this time he actually comes in and he speaks to me. He's very nice, overtly nice to me, which makes me even more uncomfortable, because I just like people who are in the middle. I don't like people who go out of their way to talk to me, because I was a very anxious person back then. I still have a lot of anxiety, but not as much as I did at 18 years old. And this began like a pattern that he would have, where he would come in every night, or he would sometimes come in the afternoon and come and talk to me and always stand in my line. My line could be the longest line ever, and it doesn't matter. I could not be on a register, and I could be over there in services, helping people do returns, or something like that, or doing Western Union or something, and he would still go stand in that line and try to find something to return, some money to send, something to ask me. It would be something, but he would just have to come and talk to me, and he would start asking me personal questions that were very uncomfortable, like, oh, where do you live? Do you live close around here? Are you dating anybody? What school do you go to? What are you studying? Do you take morning classes? Is that why you're always here at night? Do you take afternoon classes? Like, they were very personal questions, and as an 18-year-old, I should have known better not to answer these, but I still answered them. I didn't answer all of them. I didn't tell him where I lived. I didn't tell him if I lived around there. I did tell him the name of my school, although there were multiple campuses, so he didn't know what name. He didn't know what campus I went to, so he couldn't like actually track me. I mean, he could. There wasn't that many campuses, but there was enough, and there was a lot of distance between them, but it would take about a minute to be able to find me. But you know, I didn't think about that at the time. Also at this time, as a college student, I used to have a car, but my car had broken down. So I had started walking home, even though people would offer me rides. Again, I had anxiety. I wouldn't accept rides from my managers. I barely wanted to accept a ride from my best friend's mom because I just felt bad for asking her to come out and come get me at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I remember, it's one normal night. I'm walking home. I had gotten out late because it had been one of those times where it was really, really busy. And I remember it's pretty dead on the streets because this is Arizona on like a Monday night. I'm pretty sure it was like usually the weekdays is when I work the night shift, that closing shift. And so, you know, it's like a Monday or Tuesday night, let's just say. So the streets are dead, there's nobody driving around. And I remember this big black truck zoomed past me, scared the crap out of me. I could hear it through my headphones, right? So scared me. I'm staring there for a minute, and then I'm like, okay, I need to get off the main street. Usually I would walk in the neighborhoods, but you know, where I lived was within a neighborhood because Arizona is a lot of just like neighborhoods. It's not a lot of big city, at least the town that I was in. So I remember I crossed the intersection and started walking through the neighborhood, and as I'm walking through the neighborhood, I see, like, I feel like I see the lights in front of me, right? So obviously a car is coming from behind me. So I turn around and it's a black truck, and I'm like, am I tripping, or is that the same black truck that just passed by me? And I was like, if that's the same black truck, that person would have had to make a U-turn because I was on the other side of the intersection when they passed by me and I made cross the intersection. So the way that I used to go was through a neighborhood, and there was a closed down school in a field. So I would just hop on the fence, go through the field, whatever, to get home, cross the field, and my house was like maybe a little bit up the street from there. I remember I'm seeing the truck, I'm kind of freaking out because I stopped for a minute, and then I was like, I need to keep walking because I don't know who this man or who's in this, if this is the same truck or if I'm just freaking myself out. So anyways, I walk and I hop over the fence, and I remember the truck was like creeping past and it was scaring me. So I ended up kind of speed walking. I hop over the fence and the truck just parks in front of a house. And as I'm crossing the field, I make sure I never look back. And then finally, when I got to the middle of the field and I felt like the lights were no longer on me, I turned around and the truck is still there. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe it was the same truck. Maybe they were just like, they had to make a U-turn or whatever because they were coming to this house. I'm tripping, you know? So anyways, I you know, offhandedly mentioned it to my best friend that night, and she was like, you just need to be careful and let us give you a ride home. But of course I was like, no, I don't want to trouble you guys, right? So the next day the guy comes in again, right? Let's just name him D. D comes in again. He's like, hey Kaida, how are you doing? How's school going? Blah 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 blah. You know, he's still asking me, and you know, he asked me the question again, so are you seeing anybody? And finally I answered him honestly. I was like, yeah, I am seeing somebody, you know, but they live 2 hours away. Why I would say that, I don't know, but I did. And that seemed to like embolden him because he was like, you need somebody that lives closer to you. You need somebody who's gonna want to be around you. Like, you need somebody who wants to be with you. To which I just laughed off. And low-key, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I'm an 18-year-old black girl in white-ass Arizona. I have never been beauty standards there. I never wanted people who wanted me unless they like fetishized me for some weird reason, whether it was my age or my size or my race. Like, I just never had somebody want me for me. It was very few and far in between. So having somebody who was generally interested in me was kind of like nice. And I kind of let him on just a little bit, you know, by answering his questions, laughing at his jokes, not telling him when I wasn't comfortable, when he would say off comment like, oh, you look so beautiful today. Oh, I would just love to take you out on a date. Oh, I just want you to come and see my house and see this. It was like weird shit that this man would say. It would honestly low-key scare me, but at the same time, again, didn't have people just outright flirting with me unless you count online, you know? So anyways, I remember I had seen him. He was talking to me in my line or whatever, holding up my line. He left. I got off again late that night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking home. As I'm walking home, I cross the intersection and I'm pulling into the neighborhood. I may be not even halfway into the neighborhood when I see the headlights again behind me, and it's the same black truck. I know this for certain now, right? That's so crazy that I said that and a black truck passes by. That's creepy. So the same black truck, I'm kind of freaked out at this point. So I start like speed walking once again towards the field, right? And so I jumped this time, but the truck starts like speeding up as I'm speed walking. So I just took off. I'm not even gonna lie. So I took off, I jumped over the fence, I'm running across the field. I get halfway through, turn around, and I see the truck turn around. So I'm like, man, I am fucking creeping myself out because, you know, I scare easily. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't like scary movies, don't like none of that. So I scare easily. So I'm just thinking I'm tripping, you know? So I hop over the fence. I'm walking up the street because I have to walk up a little and go inside another neighborhood to get to my house at the time. And I remember I see headlights coming from behind me. I look, it's the fucking black truck. Now I know I'm not crazy. Now I know that this person, whoever it is following me, right? So instead of walking up the street, leading them to my house, I start running into the neighborhood, right? I remember I seen the truck turn and I just dove behind like some bushes. I cut up my arms, everything. And I'm just laying there and I see the truck pass me 4 times. It made a U-turn and kept going around looking for me. And it scared me so bad. Finally, when the truck left, it was like maybe 30 minutes. I got up and then I went the long ways all the way around through the desert just to go home. And I finally told my best friend's mom, and she was like, no, you're not walking no more. I'm gonna come and pick you up, or you're gonna get a ride from your coworker. Which in my mind I was like, okay, I know this was scary, but still, sitting in the car with a coworker, I don't want to do that, you know? So from then on out, I didn't walk home for like probably like a month, right? But I still seen D. D was still coming every day trying to mess with me. And I remember I finally kind of got fed up because at this point, like, things in my relationship were going really well. And I just felt bad because it's emotional cheating and I don't do that. So I said, listen, at the time I was dating a woman, I said, listen, it's disrespectful for my girlfriend for you to be coming in here, asking me on dates, trying to get with me, doing this, yada, yada. And I feel like I've been entertaining it. So let me just keep it real with you. I'm not going to be going on a date with you. I'm not going to be cheating on my girlfriend. I'm not going to be doing any of that, okay? To which, when I told him all of this, he was looking at me and he was straight faced, and then he started smiling wide, which was so scary to me. I was like, why is this fucking man smiling? He's like, oh, you have a girlfriend? So then it's not even that serious. Listen, it's fine. I'm sure if I talk to your girlfriend, she would be fine with us going out and blah, blah, blah. I don't know what type of craziness this man was on, but he was on the type of craziness where he thought because I was with a woman, my relationship was not valid. And that pissed me off. I just walked away from him, went back to my register, and he said, oh, you should give me your number so I can call you. And I said, I'm not doing that. And then I just ignored him, and he finally walked away. And I remember the customer at the time was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I was not fine. So, after this, I remember my best friend's car broke down like a couple days later after this incident, right? So again, my best friend's mom was like, you better get a ride with one of your coworkers, which I lied and I said that I would. For a few days, I was just walking and it was fine. And I was like, okay, maybe I really, and I don't know why I do this. I constantly second guess myself. So I was like, oh, wow, I must have really been tripping. This person was not following me, blah, 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 blah. Even though this person made a U-turn and was looking up and down the street for me, my 18-year-old mind was like, no, it's you. You're the problem. So I'm leaving work this time on time. So it's 12 a.m. I'm leaving work. I don't even make it out of the parking lot. The black truck literally cuts me off, rolls down their window, and it's D, of course, as you guys have already guessed. So he's like, hey, do you need a ride? I'm like, this is your car? He's like, yeah, I've been wanting to, show you, take you for a ride. Let me take you for a ride. And I was like, no, I'm going home. I got class at 6 a.m. tomorrow. And he was like, oh, I'll take you home. Just tell me where to go. And I was like, I don't know you. I'm not getting in the car. And he's like, how can you say that? I see you every day. It's fine. I'm not going to take you nowhere or do nothing weird with y'all. Like, I'm not going to do nothing weird with you. Just let me take you home. He's being very insistent, right? And then he's like, let me open up the door for you. So when he opens up his door, literally my CSM, my manager, comes zooming up in his little blue sports car. You need a ride? I said, yes. I hopped into his shit and we drove. And so we're driving down the street towards my house, and D's fucking behind us, bro, following us, like basically tailgating his car. That shit was so crazy. I was like, do not take me home. Do not let this man know where I live. We had to drive for 30 minutes to lose this man. Dead ass, not even joking. When I finally got home, he said, you should not be walking home. I'm like, I know, I really should not be walking home. So I listen, no, I don't tell nobody, because I was like, these bitches told me not to walk home, and if they hear I walk home, they're gonna be mad at me. I don't want people being mad at me, and then they're gonna baby me and worry about me, and that's gonna give me too much anxiety. I don't need people worrying about me. I don't like it. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. I'll start asking my coworker home. And so my manager was giving me ride homes from that. But I fucking remember, it was a day that my manager, he was in the army, and he was what is that thing called? He was Army Reserve. So you know how Army Reserves, they leave for like a month at a time, right? For the summer, right? So he was on his month leave where he had to go do his little Army Reserve thing. So he was gone for a whole month. And then we had like all new managers. We had all new managers up at the front end, so I wasn't comfortable asking nobody else. And when I tell you I was the only closing cashier all the time, I was the only closing cashier. Everybody would stay till like 11 p.m. and then they would leave, and I would be the only person there till 12. So I didn't have nobody else to ask. And I knew I could have asked maybe my ASM or like somebody else, but like I'm a dumbass, I didn't feel comfortable. So I remember I'm walking home, everything is normal, right? And then I said, let me not walk the way I usually walk, right? So instead of walking on the crossroad, crossing the intersection, doing whatever, I walked across the street, through the parking lot of another plaza, walked behind that plaza, walked all the way around into the desert, walked through the desert that I knew. I walked all the way up, went on a different intersection, crossed the street at a different intersection, went through a different neighborhood, but I ended up at the same neighborhood at the very end, but I came in through a different way. So I thought because I was coming in through a different way, I would still be able to cross through the field and get home, because it's the easiest way without not being on the roads. And I did not want to be on the roads just in case he saw me, right? So I literally don't even make it. Like, again, where you hop the gate at, I forgot to mention, is not an actual neighborhood. It's like a cut off, it's a dead end neighborhood. So it goes in a circle so people can turn around, but there's houses on all sides, right? Except for right there where the gate is. I'm walking towards where the dead end is, and this man literally just pulls up in front of me. He was waiting for me at the door. He was waiting for me, literally, and it took me a whole 30 minutes. So I left at 12 a.m. from my job. I didn't get there till like 12:45. I remember, because it was almost 1 o'clock, and I was pissed off because I had to literally take a 45-minute detour to avoid this man, and he still cut me off at the end, y'all. I was mad as hell. So this man doesn't even doesn't roll down his window, doesn't do anything, because he learned his lesson the first time, you see. He just got out his car, and as soon as he got off his car, I just had my keys in my hand. I had my keys, and I literally had the biggest key that I could find. I was holding it like this, because if this man comes near me and he thinks I'm not going to try to shake him with this little bit of key I have, he is dead wrong. I am that bitch. I will always be that bitch, and you're going to have to kill me. You ain't kidnapping me. I'ma die. I'ma die before I be kidnapped. Period. So then he was like, oh, no, Kaida, it's fine. I'm not trying to hurt you. He's like, I just think that we're soulmates and we're meant to be together, and I feel like I'm falling in love with you and we're meant to be mates. And he's just going off telling me how much he loves me, and I'm just like, how much he cares for me and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, you don't even know me. What are you talking about? And I started going off. Like, all the fear I had in my mind was still there. I was running on adrenaline, though, because I remember I was like, you can even see it now. Like, do you guys see that? Like, I'm literally shaking thinking about it, because I was just going off and I'm shaking. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know nothing about me. You keep coming into my store and harassing me and doing all this craziness, and you need to stop. I was like, I don't know shit about you. I don't know nothing about you. I don't care about you. I want you to leave me alone, bro. If you died and got hit by a bus, I wouldn't care. When I said I went off, bro, I went in on his ass. I went in. So he was like, no, we just, and then like, as he's listening to me, he's like, I understand why you feel that way. We just need to talk about it. We just need to get into a safe space and a quiet space and a private place and talk about it. And I'm like, quiet, safe, private sounds like my death. I'm not doing that. We're not dying today. That was not on the agenda. I don't know what you were supposed to give, but it's not giving what you said it was supposed to give. Like, I don't know what he thought his speech was supposed to give, but it's not giving what you said it was supposed to give, sir. I knew that if I kept arguing with this man, he was just gonna grab me up and try to force me in his car because he was walking towards me, and I'm taking step backs as he's taking step forwards during this conversation. So I had a backpack similar to this one right here with this one strap. I grabbed my strap, strapped this bitch right in, and I took off running because I said deaf or nothing. You're not kidnapping me. You're not kidnapping me. Not Kaida, you're not doing it. So anyways, I ran, I hopped over somebody's fence, and they were having a party. They was like, why the fuck are you in my house? I'm crying. I'm like, listen, this man is following me. He's trying to kidnap me. Help. So all these people are crowding around me. They like, should we call the police? Should we do this? Should we do that? I was like, let's not call the police because we already know how the police are here. They don't give a fuck about us. They do not care about us. And so they were like, yeah, no, you're right. We shouldn't call the police. So they basically said they're gonna take me home, which I'm gonna pause. I'm almost late to work, so we're gonna come back to this. I'll be in a different outfit. Y'all, I just want to express how fucking mad I am because I already refilmed this a few days ago. Was trying to upload it, didn't have storage on my phone, and here we are again. So we're walking out of the house. The man and the wife, who I think owned the home and who was throwing the party, were the people who said that they would take me home. And then as we're walking out towards their car or whatever, he rolls up in his fucking truck and he gets out of his car like a crazy person and is like, oh my God, thank you so much for finding my girlfriend. Oh, she ran off from the car and I didn't know where she was. Thank you so much. And is this the dude that's trying to kidnap you? I'm like, yes, this is the guy that's trying to kidnap me. He's like, I'm not trying to kidnap her. No, you don't understand. She's bipolar and sometimes she goes through moments of psychosis. And this is just one of those moments. Thank you for helping me find her. Please let me just get her home because me and her mom are worried about her. And this man is literally trying to convince these people that I am crazy, right? And low-key, I'm paraphrasing, but he was doing a really good job of it. And I say that because the lady was looking at me like I was crazy, right? So then I'm looking at them, I'm like, please, I'm not crazy. I don't have bipolar. I'm not in psychosis. If I was any of those things, I would not be able to answer your questions. I would not be able to explain logically what was going on. And as I was like explaining it, basically like reassuring them, they were like, yeah. So as you know, like I said, this is white ass Arizona, Mexican ass Arizona, gun toting Arizona, the West, Wild West, where you don't even need a conceal to carry permit to conceal and carry. They just carry them around. So he went into his car and grabbed his shotgun and basically aimed it at D and was like, listen, you gonna get the fuck out my property, or I'm gonna put a bullet in you and your car. So of course D just got in his car, drove away. Of course, they took me home. Finally, I told everybody what's going on, and they were like, yeah, you're not ever doing that again. Like, you're not walking no more. And I'm like, of course. And I was gonna get my car next week anyways. No, I was gonna get my car in like a few days anyway, so I didn't even freaking care. So I was like, yeah. So after this, my best friend's mom was like, you really need to tell your story. They need to ban this guy. And like, I know I'd forgotten to mention this in previous ones, but basically that time when he followed us around, like me and my manager, and we had to like followed us in the car. My manager had told me that I needed to go and tell my store manager and tell the security, which I did tell them, but they basically said because he didn't do anything on the property, that they couldn't do anything. They said that we rent the plaza, so like the parking lot isn't our property, only the store is our property, which was shitty. And I was like, but he comes in and harasses me in the store. And they were like, but you're not talking about the store in this instance. And I was like, so let me talk about the store. But it was a whole thing. But basically, they were just being lazy. They just didn't want to do anything. That's what it came down to. So my best friend's mom was like, you need to tell me you're going to hold him responsible. So I remember I went in that day, 18-year-old anxious me, but I was out for vengeance because at this point, I had been harassed, I had been followed, I had to jump over the fence, I'd fucked up my knee the day before, I had somebody trying to convince somebody else that I was crazy, like, I was just having a whole, and this is all happening, like, I just want to explain this to you, like, how bad this was for me, because this all happened in the span of, like, probably, like, I want to say, like, 4 months. This happened in the span of 4 months, because I remember this happened towards not quite the beginning, but towards like the middle of my fall semester into, yeah, because this stuff was happening around Christmas, okay? So this is happening towards the middle end of my fall semester into my spring semester. I was just about to start my spring semester, which is why I was going to be able to afford my car, because I was going to get some money back from my school, and adding that to my saved money, I was going to have enough. But besides that, I just remember I went in there and I was like, listen, this is what happened yesterday. I've told you guys already. And like, I remember my best friend's mom and my manager had basically told me, write an email before you go in there and talk to them. So the last time I wrote an email before I went in there to talk to them. This time I wrote an email again because you always want to leave a paper trail. And I was like, I've written you 2 emails at this point. You guys have basically saying that you're not going to do anything. You didn't respond to my email. So now there's no paper trail of us even having this conversation. And I was like, and if anything happens to me, if he comes in here harassing me, anything like that, I'm holding you in the store responsible. And basically they were trying to play it off like they didn't care. My AP low-key had an attitude like, why are you threatening us? And I'm like, I'm not threatening you. I'm being threatened with my life and y'all don't give a fuck. This man is coming in here harassing me. And as your employee, you should be keeping me safe. I should be in a safe work environment. You're not giving that to me. You're not giving it to me. So, basically they let me go. I went to the register for about an hour. I guess they realized that I really dead ass was serious because they read my second email. And I remember I CC'd one of the corporate managers in there. And so basically they end up coming in there. They end up having me pinpoint a time that he had come in. We found a picture of him, pinned it, and my manager, my AP was like, listen, and my store manager at the time was like, we're not gonna leave. We're gonna wait for this man to come in tonight. So of course we're waiting. He never comes, right? At least he never comes for most of the night. Towards the end of the night, my AP was a heavy smoker and he was like, listen, let me just go outside and smoke. The bad thing about the smoke, where you had to smoke there, was that the smoking tables were on the side of the store. You couldn't see the entrance. He said he was gonna be 5 minutes. The minute that this man walked out, he walked in. And literally, when I turned around and I saw him, I had a box cutter in my freaking pocket. I remember I pulled it out, put that hoe on 3, and was literally like this, shaking, holding the box cutter towards them. This had to be something out of a movie, period. Like, I'm not even joking. So he's like, no, Kaida, I'm sorry. Please, I didn't mean to scare you that yesterday. I just didn't want them calling the police. I didn't really know what to do. Like, I don't want you to think that I don't care about you or I don't love you. And I'm like, you don't fucking know me. And then literally as I yelled that, I remember my store manager was walking out of the office, right? And I was like, this is him. And my store manager came running out and he like calls my AP on the walkie. They come running in. They trying to grab him, but low-key they can't technically like hold him, their hands on him because of policy. But they were trying to block him from leaving. But of course, D basically doot them out and left. And basically that's the end of the story because I never saw that man again after that. He got banned. I do remember that they wanted to like file a police report and we tried, but you know, like I said, the police ain't shit where I'm from, so they basically never showed up. And they just told us they gave my AP like a little paper that I had to fill out, but like I couldn't even fill it out. I don't know this man's last name. I don't know where he lives. I don't have his address. I don't have anything. So essentially he could have came back or kidnapped me and they wouldn't know nothing except for what this man looks like. But he never did. So, you know, God, my sky mommies are good. Whoever is up in the sky or whoever is whatever you believe in, they're good to me because, whoo, girl, I was scared. But yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, make sure to put a blue or red heart in the comment section. Tell me what you think of this. If you want more crazy stories, especially from this store, because I no longer work there. I haven't worked there in like 4 years, so I could tell you guys some tea of what's going on. I could just never tell you the store name. And if you know me in person, please do not say the store name because we already know how they are. Not trying to get sued. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. This Toraba.